Mr. Daggett, who was the head of the Longshoremen. And as I had pointed out a little earlier, he had a lot to say. He was very vocal about the demands of the union. The Longshoremen.
But they had an agreement. They reached an agreement?
They had reached it earlier today. But the Longshoremen were being taken for a ride because they are the ones who were going to shut down the ports. In fact, Governor DeSantis was prepared to strike break, shocking, unless they reached a deal. But they did. And so this is what a real, again, this is the inspiration. This is why when you have movements led by the likes of Sean O'Brien and Sean Fain, you get other union leaders that step up and show the muscle that workers really have. And remember,
it's inspiring.
There's a hell of a lot more workers than there are shareholders. Here we go.
Weekend. The past
Secretary of Labor, Julie Sue, has been terrific. She's knocking down doors. She's trying to stop this. She's trying to get us to a media where we can have a fair negotiations. It's the companies that don't want to. They don't want to sit here and be fair. So that's why we're out here fighting for our livelihood.
What more from the automation do you want? What more protections could there be?
What more?
Yeah, they have one in there now.
Not strong enough, because what happens is they come in with new technology. We just caught them in Mobile, Alabama, called Autogate, and that means the trucks are coming in and they're already checked in somewhere else and not using the checkers in the ILA. Circumventing the contract. They don't care. They don't care. It's not fair. And if we don't put our foot down now, they would like to run over us, and we're not going to allow that.
You are going to grind the economy to a halt here on the East Coast and the Gulf Coast.
Yes.
Good.
Go for it. Please do. Yeah.
And you know what?
This is no different than when they say, oh, so you don't want Israel to exist? No.
No, actually, I don't. Don't threaten me with a good time.
No.
But they're in the same position or here. I mean, we know they've come to an agreement. This is the same thing as the railroad workers. If these guys go on strike, everything shuts down. They can't. My understanding, I was watching on Left Reckoning. Oh God, Dave Griscom had the numbers. How much it was costing them every day for the dock workers to not be working. And you would think, with how much money that is, that costs them, that these are pretty important workers. They might be essential even. I would say they're essential workers, but yet they pay them and don't protect them. They pay them crap and don't protect them.
The funny thing, Tony, about where we've ended up today as a result of not having a Bernie Sanders presidency is that we are that much closer to socialism, because you do not have people that are actively fighting on your behalf that are within the two-party system or within the current free market broken capitalist system actually attempting to do this.
Do you know that this kind of thing is related to what was not East Palestine. There was something else that is very, very connected to one of the things that they're fighting about in terms of what kind of damage that happens from when you have understaffed places, when you have understaffed ports, understaffed facilities. That's how accidents happen. And those are the kinds of accidents that kill people. Like lots of people.
One of the best examples, and this is why when we look back on what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, because I associate her with this administration as tightly as possible, especially right now, because of the fact that she is the president.
I don't think she is right now.
Or at least, not
again.
Name, but point being,
yeah.
People forget that one of the reasons why the railroad workers went on strike is because they were cutting corners left and right and making it dangerous beyond words for people to work.
Correct. And that's happening to them. Killed. And that is happening to the longshoremen. And I will say that I do have a personal bias because my pop was in the Merchant Marines in World War II and worked on the docks up in, New York or wherever, back in the day. And
the longshoreman on the docks.
He was a dock worker.
If you've never seen On the Waterfront.
And he was burly, and I actually have his Merchant Marines pea coat from the docks. But in any event, so I have a special bias, but I don't think people understand how important these people are.
No.
And that's why I do think that we need to see a major inconvenience I think we all need to be very inconvenienced.
You know
I
what
think you need to know what a real supply chain problem looks like. I think people need to understand that.
The thing that's so scary is that I can so see a scenario where Trump gets in again, and he's going to look at every scenario that's going to basically make it, not necessarily make him a king, but he's going to want the legacy of a lifetime.
Yeah,
He's
but
that-
it depends
he's
on
that
that
guy.
could go in so many
It
bad
could.
directions.
Listen, I'm totally getting on the side of this union president. He's a tough son of a bitch. I totally appreciate him. I don't like to pay my workers a fair wage, but I gotta.
I
go
just,
along
you
with
know,
this guy.
the
know,
people that
if you
do
scare them
first
hard
of all, dock work is incredibly dangerous.
Oh yeah,
That is like they are in so much more danger. That job is infinitely more dangerous than cops, than law enforcement. I don't even think law enforcement's in the
You
top like,
definitely
25. I
like-
mean, loggers and linemen and electricians have more dangerous
loggers are
jobs.
definitely at the top, but,
But
you do
these
like to point out-
guys,
you do like to point out that a cop's job is not as dangerous. as
I
people make it out
absolutely
to be.
do like to point that out because somehow
Do you-
they're always saying how they're so, how their job is so dangerous. These guys, their job is dangerous. Their job is very dangerous and they don't get the protection that officers get. They don't get that. So I'm
Sure.
just saying yeah,
You know who else's job is more dangerous than a police officer's?
fishermen.
Firefighters.
Actually, commercial fishermen are one of the top 5
Mm.
most dangerous jobs, as are like telephone linemen. Like there's a lot of things that are, and I'm telling you, like police officer isn't even in like the top 20.
All right.
Not us. They are. Don't spin it now because you're Fox News. They're going to drive it.
But are you worried?
They're going to drive it.
Are you worried that
They
this
have the
strike?
capital to settle this thing.
Are you worried that this strike is going to hurt the everyday American, the farmers that need to reach the export market? They're
Listen,
telling me that they're going to hurt through
Now
all
you
of
start
this.
to realize who the longshoremen are, right?
Nobody cares.
People never gave a about us until now, when they finally realized that the chain is being broke now. Cars won't come in. Food won't come in. Clothing won't come in. You know how many people depend on our jobs? Half the world. And it's time for them and time for Washington to put so much pressure on them to take care of us, because we took care of them. And we're here 135 years and brought them where they are today, and they don't want to share. And I'm done.
Their job is incredibly dangerous.
There is.
And by the way, in certain climates and conditions, it's horrific.
And apparently the longshoremen are not endorsing the Democrats either.
Mm,
Oh,
shocking.
terrible. Terrible. But Mr. Daggett has a little bit more to say.
I dig him.
But today's world, it's changing into the future. They're not making millions no more. They're making billions. And they're spending it fast as they make it. I want a piece of that for my men. Because when they made their most money was during COVID. When my men had to go to work on those piers every single day, when everybody stayed home and went to work. Not my men. They died out there with the virus. We all got sick with the virus. We kept them going. From Canada to Maine to Texas, Great Lakes, Puerto Rico, now the Bahamas, everybody went to work during COVID. Nobody stayed home. Well, I want to be compensated for that. I'm not asking for the world. They know what I want. They know what I want. And if they don't, well, then I have to go into the street and we have to fight for what we rightfully deserve.
Is he wrong?
No, let him finish because I like what he says. I like what he's going to say.
These people today don't know what a strike is. Right. When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port, a lockdown. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in.
Because we make
They
none of
lose
it.
their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, I'm putting a Taft-Hartley on you. Go ahead. Taft-Hartley means I have to go back to work for 90 days. as a cooling off period. Do you think when I go back for 90 days, those men are going to go to work on that pier? It's going to cost the companies money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8. They're going to be like this. Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. And in today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you, and you have no idea what that means. Nobody does.
I love him. He unfortunately, that almost sounds like he's got like a potential Hoffa-esque type of ending for saying that, but I really appreciate that. And he's right. I wanted the railroad workers to go on strike. I want people who are generally so privileged and convenient to be very inconvenienced.
Not only that, but we live in a world today where there is only so many people that can do the job. I know they want to automate everything, and that is their ideal scenario, but it's not going to happen.
No, they can't.
And thank you, Chip. It's always appreciated.
Thanks, Chip.
Remember.
And they can't. And he knows it. This guy knows the numbers. He knows what it will cost them to hire people to go around. He knows. He's crunched all those numbers. He knows that they win.
Thank you, Teresa.
But so they did reach an agreement, correct?
They did.
Good. Because, you know, that from the last I heard, the offer was a 50%.
61.5% increase over a 5-year period.
Nice.
And that's not even enough.
No, but it's a good negotiation.
It is.
And it's a good negotiation.
100%. And what it also shows you is that more and more of these scenarios are going to end up happening. And you know what else is going to end up happening? More and more people are going to sign up to join a union. That's what's going to happen.
Yep.
And then the collective power will start to grow and grow and grow. And then it don't fucking matter if you're a Republican.
I was going to say, and the more of them that are not aligning with the Democrats and the more that are jumping ship from that is going to make it be, I mean, that's just speeding up the
think
process.
about it. All of the union busting, pro-war, neocon psychopaths, you know, they're all going to end up.
Thanks, Arlene.
They're all going to end up they're all in the Democratic Party. I mean, it's like the power vacuum that could be created through a Trump presidency is something that I don't think people are truly recognizing right now. Because if you are getting to the point where Dick fucking Cheney is a spokesperson for the Democratic Party,
over. It's over.
And I got to tell you, everything that's going on right now, the fact that Trump is down there in North Carolina and Georgia right now when Kamala still hasn't fucking gone down, it's like the same thing over. It's like
she was out doing some
huge
fundraiser out in California.
I mean, if that doesn't spell it, I don't know what
does.
While
towns are floating down rivers, she's at a big fundraiser.
And I agree, Arlene. And this is part of the reason, as you've pointed out many times,
absolutely,
why a lot of these unions have their renewal contract dates set for May 1st, 2028. That's not a mistake.